Okay, so I had a question from an attendee who did my Week in Confidence program, and it's a really good question, and that's how do you control your adrenaline when you're speaking to women? This is like my whole area of fascination, and obviously I've dedicated to a big part of my life coaching people on how to do this. So first of all, it's normal. It's normal to get adrenaline, if you're going to speak to a woman that you find attractive and you're going to ask her out. Or it's normal to get adrenaline if you're speaking to new people for the first time, especially when you're starting the conversation. But where the problem lies here and where the solution lies is if you don't learn how to deal with your own fight or flight and your own adrenaline, then that's always going to hold you back in life. So the way that I did it when I first started out, like everybody who has this problem that comes to me for coaching and confidence coaching, and how to get over this social anxiety, whether it's talking to women or it's talking to guys or it's just talking to people in general, you've really got to do what is called exposure therapy, which is the psychologist is the fancy term, which basically means what I teach. You have to become fearless. You have to face any situation. In this particular case, we're talking about speaking to women. You have to face the very situation which triggers your adrenaline and it triggers that fight or flight response, and you have to practice that situation usually hundreds of times until your fight or flight response, your adrenaline, doesn't get triggered as high as when you first went into the situation. That's what I was explaining to one of the attendees that did my Week in Confidence program, that, adrenaline's normal. It's nothing to be ashamed of. It isn't. Everybody has it. Everybody gets triggered in fearful situations where they're not confident, they're not used to it, they're not experienced at it. But of course, with practice, you can overcome that 100%. I did it first and foremost, and I've helped hundreds of people to do it. You can do it in any area of life. So I'm just going to give some examples. So the first time that you're going to speak in front of a camera, like what I'm doing now, it's very likely that you're going to get anxious, you're going to be nervous, you're going to have adrenaline in your body. I did when I first started. But if you practice it for weeks, months and years, you're not going to get that same adrenaline anymore. Like I wish I could get that. I kind of miss that feeling, even though I used to hate it at the time. But I don't get a massive adrenaline dump, if not any, when I make YouTube videos, because I've been doing this for 10 years and I've got used to it. My body's got used to it. My psychology's got used to it. My biology has adapted to the stress levels that are caused when speaking publicly or in front of the camera. So it's no different with speaking to women. Probably what is different for a lot of men is the way that they interpret that, because obviously it's women, it's a sensitive area for guys. It can be being rejected by a woman and getting embarrassed, getting awkward. So they, the stories and the ideas, some from society, some from friends, some from ignorant sources, your own fears, your own insecurities about yourself, your own worries about what might happen if I go into the situation. Now, obviously, the fear becomes the fear of adrenaline, and that's really what fear is anyway. And like I said, there are different doses of adrenaline. So, for example, most people, if they go to a job interview for the first time, they're going to get adrenaline. They're going to get some pre-anxiety. That's completely normal. But let's say someone who is very socialized and has done public speaking, or has done, has been to like 10 job interviews in the last month. They've just really been going to lots of them. They're going to get more used to it. Therefore, they're going to have less adrenaline. So the way that you overcome big adrenaline triggers with regards to speaking to women or in any social situation, I keep going off topic, is because I'm passionate and they're so similar, is by putting yourself in that situation again. Now, obviously, easier said than done. When you're the person that struggles with the fear, and speaking to women can be terrifying, it can be paralyzing, and I know, I've been through it as well until I overcame it. it's not that easy for you to motivate yourself and make yourself go and start a conversation with a woman, whatever situation that may be, or go on a date or speak to a group of women, because that feeling of adrenaline is so intense and overwhelming and frightening and scary that you don't want to feel that. It's hard to motivate yourself beyond your fears, and because you don't want to experience those emotions, because for the most part they don't feel nice. This is where there's two things you can do. One is you can get coaching, and doing my weekend conference program is the perfect environment as we go out in public and we practice being ethical and having honest conversations with women, and connecting and making women's days and being social. So getting coaching is really, really important. Like that's something you really want to think about. Or if it's not a weekend program, one-on-one coaching. So I can help you, because trying to do it on your own is really difficult, as you probably know, whoever you are watching this video. So I would recommend going on courses, getting mentorships. Now, obviously, I'm saying I think you should come to me. I think I'm the best in the world when it comes to this. I'm going to be biased, but I really believe that. But obviously, if I'm not the right coach for you, go out and find a coach who is right for you, that can help you to get past your social anxiety, your adrenaline in this department, which is speaking to women and dating, just, relaxing. Secondly is do it on your own and break things down. And breaking things down, I'll give you an example. So if you get bad adrenaline when you speak to women, then you really want to practice something like when you go into a coffee shop and you order your coffee in Starbucks or wherever you get your coffee from, whatever coffee shop it is or whatever shop, just try and say a couple of words like, thanks, and ask a question. Just say, what's the difference between Americano and a latte or a cappuccino? Obviously, don't lie. It's important to be honest, but, ask your own question, or just ask the person, how's their day going? And what you're doing is you are training yourself to stay in social situations with women that trigger your adrenaline, and you're learning to break down the psychological fears, which are for the most part all irrational. They're all irrational. Nothing really bad's going to happen. Well, that's not entirely true, because you're not going to die. That's unlike that's going to happen in a conversation with a woman. Now, you could get embarrassed. You could start stuttering. You could be awkward. That's a possibility. But like I say in all my videos, if you don't go through those things, you don't want that to happen. You don't hope for that. But you have. That's going to happen at some point. But it's not quitting. So that's already a lot of tips, breaking it down. Or when you're going out for a walk, wherever you are, on the street, in tourist places, in a bar, in a gym, practice just saying hello to women and being honest and being respectful and smiling. Hi, how are you doing? You practice gradually having conversations, because obviously it's hard for some guys. It used to be really hard for me to have a 5 minute. 5 minutes feels like eternity when you're dealing with your adrenaline. Even a minute feels long. So you just want to try and last as long as you can in the conversation, and you might have to break that down into just literally one word, like hello, or 2 words, hello, 3 words, hello, how are you? Or hello, nice to meet you. Where are you from? I'm Jonathan, nice to meet you. I'm David. I'm Paul. I'm Patrick. Nice to meet you. What's your name? So it's really learning to say basic things, basic social skills, but under the circumstances which are challenging and stressful. And the more you keep putting yourself in these social situations, what will happen over time is you start to become desensitized. And if that word goes above your head, you basically get more relaxed. You become less nervous, basically. So you don't become less nervous by avoiding social situations and talking to women. You're going to become more nervous, more insecure, have more low self-confidence. You become less nervous by putting yourself in those situations. As I said, you've got to find ways in which you can motivate yourself. And if you can't do that, then you really want to get a coach. Because when you've got me next to you, coaching you, man, it makes it 90% easier. There's no question of a doubt about that. I know I've been coaching for so many years, especially in this area of social anxiety, helping people to speak to people. That's where I specialize, and I had all these struggles as well. I know what it's like, so I can understand the struggles, how you're feeling. I've been through all of it, but I can also understand how to get that confidence. So the confidence is going to come from you going through it. Now, it's not a nice feeling, I'll be honest, it's not pleasant, but if you don't suffer it and go through it, you're not going to get to the nice feeling. So you got to go through that suffering. And what I mean by suffering is you've got to face that adrenaline, which is a level of suffering, the adrenaline, the stress, the nerves, the butterflies, the panicking, the anxiety. The consequences are, it can be difficult to hold eye contact. It can be difficult to think of things to say because you get so overwhelmed, you get so in your head. It can be sometimes difficult to not start stuttering and get awkward and embarrassed. It can be difficult to express yourself, to smile. But through practice, through sticking at it, through the right mindset, through breaking down conversations and making them simple, and, you know, like I say, words like hello, how are you, normal language, that's normal, that's appropriate, that everybody speaks, men and women. And obviously pushing yourself in new social situations, you really want to try and speak to women in as many social settings as you can so you can get more confidence. Because, see, the challenge is, online dating isn't going to help for this unless obviously you go on a lot of dates, and not every guy's fortunate to get dates with how competitive online dating is. That's why I don't really like it. I don't use it, right? So it's important that you go to meetup groups, that you go to events where you can speak to women, or, you know, you go out in public where it's hot, it's sunny, and there's people around, and it's safe, and you can start conversations. As I said, you know, most women are friendly if you're friendly and you're genuine. So that's what happens. And I would also say as well, what I've noticed with clients and also with my own experiences, you want to practice also getting comfortable around people in general. And I know some guys, like the guy who asked me this question, said that he gets more adrenaline around women. It's not as much as guys, more comfortable with guys. But a lot of my clients are not like that. So if you get more comfortable with people in general, it will transfer onto women. But I do understand it's a little bit different just speaking to people, you know, when you're being platonic, men and women, just having friendly conversations, than it is when you've got, you know, you're romantically interested in a woman. That's a bit different. That's more nerve-wracking because, you know, you're scared that you've got feelings for someone that you like, and you're scared that they're not going to feel the same way about you, reject you. So there's a lot on the line in that regard. But you've got to go through all these things. You can't let rejection stop you. You know, social awkwardness, social anxiety, you know, not being able to hold eye contact, all these problems and things that can happen, all these social little mishaps, you've got to keep going through them, and it will get better. Unfortunately, you can't make, saying's not great, but I'll say it for now, you can't make an omelette without breaking eggs, right? I don't eat eggs anyway, but you understand what I mean. So you're not going to get socially confident, you're not going to not get big doses of adrenaline if you don't go through rejection and some embarrassment and awkwardness. I mean, I wish I could tell you otherwise, but it's just, I've got to be straight and tell you the truth. It's the best thing. That's the best thing. So it's exposure therapy, it's practice, it's facing the fear, it's doing it gradually. Now, obviously, once you can, let's say, for example, say hello to 10 women. Once you can say hello to 10 women, then you want to go from saying hello to starting a conversation, staying in longer. So it's a bit like that, you know. I'm using all these really silly analogies today. Maybe they're not silly, but, you know, like when you, like boiling a pea in a pot, I guess. I don't even know if it makes sense, but you wouldn't just throw, I suppose, if you throw a pea in boiling hot water, it's too overwhelming. Example, if you push someone into a social situation, public speaking in front of 50 people, it's too much for them. So you break it down, and I get you to speak to one person until you get more comfortable, and then 2, then 3, then 5, and then so forth until you can do 50. So that's how you do it. You do it gradually at your own pace, or you have obviously a coach helping you. Now, if you do want to do a program, I've got an upcoming weekend confidence program. The last one was brilliant. It's sold out. I've got one coming up on April, where are we now? The 11th. It's going to be on the 23rd and the 24th, and I've still got 2 spaces left. I'm going to take 4 students. So let me know if you want to come on that. And on that weekend program, we're going to be practicing talking to women and guys. You're going to be speaking amongst the group, which is going to be guys, which is great. and you're going to be practicing having honest conversations with women and learning how to control your anxiety. And then you can build honest relationships with women, get a date, and obviously eventually get a girlfriend if that's what you want, or just get more confident with women and people. So it's no different, this practice of adrenaline, this exposure, and obviously you've got to stick at it. You've got to build that momentum. You can't just speak to women once a year and expect to have no adrenaline. You've got to practice this for some weeks and months to see those big improvements. All right, like, share, subscribe. If you want to apply for the weekend confidence programs, get over your social anxiety with women and people, email me in the box below. I'll get back to you ASAP. All right, thank you.